I am Stuart. This is Courtney Emerson. We have two darling children, a 5-year-old Jennings and 1-year-old Chapman. Jennings is the ESP friend that brings us here. When Jennings was born, we were living in Atlanta. Leading up to childbirth, we had a relatively normal pregnancy from what we can tell up until really the day of childbirth. She had a brain bleed in her brainstem somewhere, in utero prior to birth. Seeing something that appeared nearly lifeless come out was probably the most traumatic thing I've ever witnessed. Breathing was even a question at that point. So they took her off immediately to the NICU, and parents for their first child, and only being married for a year and going through some of these life-sustaining and life-changing decisions. And how much care do you provide? How deep down the rabbit hole do you go to have her have quality of life? That we want her to have. And I think Courtney and I really just decided that we'll do whatever it takes to have her make it through this and thrive.
When we were trying to make decisions in the NICU, it was tough on what do we do next. We want to remove the tubes from Jennings and see if she survives. We're going from 4.5 months in the NICU. We had not been outside in 4.5 months with her. So we made the decision to remove care. Stuart's wish was to go outside into the gardens.
I was just thinking there's no way to live inside a building your entire life. She has to see the sky. She has to breathe fresh air.
On the last day, we removed all of her tubes. We didn't know at that point what was going to happen. It could be her last breath, or she could pull through. And Stuart took her on a walk around the garden. 10 days later, she was still breathing on her own. Everyone was just amazed that after 4.5 months of being on all this equipment, we have removed all care and she is still thriving.
You don't outgrow what Jennings has, if you will. This is her. This will be her. It will mold and morph and change just like we all do. But she will always have need for someone to be around, an extra set of eyes to help, extra set of hands. You don't grow out of this at age 21 when the schools say, okay, you're an adult now. You grow on to be in your 20s and 30s and 40s, and you still have some extra needs, and you need a support system.
The day I heard about ESP, Stuart's colleague and friend is from Athens and had a connection to ESP. I was sitting in the NICU one night and waiting on Stuart to come relieve me because we swap out when he would get off work so I could go home. And he walked in, he said, "Hey, I have someone I want you to meet. She's from Athens. She has a connection with this organization called Extra Special People. She thinks it'll be good for us and good for Jennings in the future." She invited us to our first ESP pageant and gala. The lights came on, the music came on, and you see all the participants walking on stage. My emotions just ran high at that point. I looked at Stuart, he looked at me, he grabbed my hand, and I knew at that point, this will be where my daughter will be in a couple of years. Well, I started following them on Instagram and Facebook. I started following ESP. They posted that they were having summer camp. I went online and immediately booked Jennings for 2 weeks of summer camp. Didn't even run it by Stuart at this point. I just booked it, and he came home that night, and I said, "Stuart," I was like, "Jennings is old enough. I just booked her for 2 weeks of summer camp in Athens." And he said, "Wait, you're going to take both kids and go to Athens for 2 weeks?" I said, "Absolutely." There was just no questions asked. The first day of camp, I was so nervous for her. I have a nonverbal child who can't tell me if something's wrong. I'm dropping her off somewhere. I rounded the corner and all you could see were people cheering, smiling, music playing. And I knew at that point Jennings was in good hands. I could not wait to come back in that afternoon and see how her day went. Her buddy brought her out. Jennings was just kicking in her wheelchair. She started babbling in the back seat all the way back home. I was like, Stuart, like, Jennings is so happy.
To get excitement out of her is just a heartwarming thing to see. And it shows that things went well, because you can't ask her how her day was. One of the biggest things is being able to trust who you pass your kid off to. And that's, going to school or going to a church nursery, or whoever you're entrusting, or a family member or friend, a babysitter, whoever you're entrusting with your child. When they're nonverbal, you really have to have a trust, and that's something that we felt right off the bat.
Us coming up here for camp was, a game changer. As the week went on, I was getting seeing pictures online and texts of Jennings is swimming, Jennings is bowling, Jennings is riding a go-kart, Jennings is getting to go on outings. Things like that don't happen in every city. And coming up here and just seeing her get to be a child and getting to do those things it was wonderful to see for us. Stuart and I have lived in several big cities. We've lived in Charlotte, we lived in Atlanta, we've lived in Columbus, and no other city offers what ESP offers.
We have a place where she can go and make friends and do activities and be a part of a normal, fun, super high energy atmosphere. And the ESP wants us there.
When you walk through these doors at ESP, you know that she is going to be accepted. She will be acknowledged. She will be grabbed by the hand and taken in. And that means more to me and Stuart, I think, that we haven't had that experience before.
It felt like when we came home from summer camp, I was like, man, it's a really long time until summer camp starts again.
Right.
It's a long time to wait to get back up here.